Should I remove something from my Instagram bio because my boyfriend feels uncomfortable? Sorry for formatting issues, I'm on mobile. There's been a thing going around lately where people who are cisgender, especially those my age, have been putting their pronouns in their bio to make people who are transgender feel less unusual for having to put their pronouns out for others to see so that they won't be misgendered. I put my pronouns in my bio and it's been that way for I think a few months. Today while we were on the phone my boyfriend asked about it and I told him what it was for. He laughed and a few minutes later he told me that he removed it from my bio just so I know. I asked why and he told me that it was because he didn't want others to think he was dating someone who was transgender. That disgusted me because even if you were, why is that such a serious issue? I told him not to change anything in my bio because I put it there for a reason. He told me that if I was keeping it I can take his change my picture, he was in it, because he still didn't want anyone to think he was dating someone transgender. So I said okay I'll change the picture and he hung up the phone and texted me to tell me that he'd call me tomorrow. After that he took his username out of my bio to make sure no one would think that he was dating me. Should I just take it out of my bio? It's not like it's directly helping people in the LGBT+ community, I just thought I'd do it to help anyone who feels hurt by that. I don't want to start an issue about it if I'm just being overdramatic. Edit, I appreciate everyone's input. Thank you so much for spending your time commenting below, smile. It sounds like you two have incompatible worldviews and values. Do not change the core of who you are to save a relationship. Find a relationship that nourishes you and helps you become the best version of yourself. Change your password, he has no right to change anything in your bio. He sounds controlling and not like a good person. Girl, why does he have your password? Remove BF. Change password. Change boyfriend. My 15F stepfather 49M and mother 43F want me to cut all contact with the stepsister 18F I just met, because of something they aren't telling me. Should I ask her what is going on or wait for them to explain? Too long didn't read, is the title itself. Update, throwaway account cause cousins and friends follow me on main. Sorry if it's way too long. In May this year, my mother caught the thing that shall not be named, no symptoms, so she was and is fine, and my stepfather was presenting a few symptoms, but neither she or him were bad enough to be admitted at an hospital, so doctors recommended staying at home and all that. Because I, 15F, have a weak immune system, both of them called some of our relatives who lived close by to see who could keep me for a few weeks, but majority of them couldn't, and the only one who could, was making me share a room with 3 of my male cousins. So we all refused. With no options, my stepfather called his daughter to ask this favor, and she accepted. Before I even packed my things, my mother pleaded me to stay the max of my time there in the guest bedroom, trying my best to not get involved with her stepdaughter. I'm going to call her Asa. To be honest, until that point, I barely knew her. I even imagined her being 20-something. The only thing I knew was that she lived relatively close of us. I was getting ready to pass the most uncomfortable weeks of my life. I was damn wrong. Asa is only 3 years older than me, and she is one of the funniest, charitable, and kindest people I ever met. The whole first week Asa put the extra mile to get to know me, and make things comfortable for me. One example is, she shares the house with 2 college students that she rents suites on a more private part of the house, but she asked them to keep most of their time on their part of the house while I was getting used to the new living situation. And the house she lives is like this perfect paradise. Asa lives on a big house that has a greenhouse and a garden where she plants vegetables, fruits and flowers. She inherited from her aunt, who raised her and taught Asa everything about it. There's also so many puppies, and kittens, and little birds. She takes care of them while they are finding a place to live. I was in awe the whole time there. She taught me how to cook a few foreign dishes, how to take proper care of plants, She introduced me to Lonely Island because I'm a new Andy Samberg fan, and she even helped me with homework. I had such a wonderful time. After my stay ended, we decided to keep in touch. We basically talk every damn day. Today we were on Discord being loud as hell, laughing and having fun as we've been having since May. Then my stepfather knocked on the door and asked me to go help mom with lunch. My stepfather asked who I was talking to, because he didn't recognize the voice. My mother chimed in and said she heard us talking another day, and asked if I wanted to invite my new friend to dinner. I decided to stop omitting things and told them it was Asa, that we were getting along pretty well. My stepfather made an annoyed face and my mother acted like I punched her in the gut. They started telling me that Asa was a terrible person, that she always been since she was a child. That talking to Asa now that it's not needed anymore was an act of betrayal. Asa was manipulative, a liar. They warned me not to get involved when I went there, and they only sent me there because they didn't had another choice. When I tried to defend Asa and ask the whole story, my mother started crying, like really crying. My stepfather said that I don't have any idea of the amount of pain Asa put them through. Tried to ask again the whole story and said I wasn't going to stop talking to Asa until they tell me. They told me to go to my room. I was calling Asa to ask the whole story, but my stepfather came in, took my phone and cancelled the call before she could even answer the phone. He yelled at me, calling me insensitive, and left. I cried a bit in my room before lunch. After a silent and awkward lunch, my mother gave me back my phone and warned me not to contact Asa. She told me they were going to tell me everything at night, after work. What should I do? Should I try to call Asa again? She sent me a text asking everything okay, right after my stepfather took my phone. She is so kind, so I have no idea of what she could have done. Maybe she is manipulative, is using me to revenge, and I should listen to my parents. Maybe I ignored or am unaware of all the red flags she's been showing. All of this is making my anxiety flare up. I don't know what to do, and can't wait until night. Can someone help me with what should I do? _Edit. So, my mom texted me saying they won't come home early, that I opened some deep scars, and they wanted to unwind a little bit. I won't be having my answers today. I already texted my grandma asking her to call me the moment she wakes up. She probably is asleep, as she lives in another country. I will try to sleep too for now. Thank you all for the advice. I would tell her your dad was being mean and you're okay. Then, wait to hear what your parents say. Then, talk with Asa. There are always two sides to every story, so it would be good to hear both perspectives of whatever their reason for her being a manipulative liar is. Lastly, it's your choice in the end if you maintain a relationship with her. Thank you. Your advice is solid. I will hear them, and later I will talk to her. I really don't like the idea of Asa not being able to defend herself. You need more information from your parents. Explain that you aren't trying to hurt their feelings by having a good relationship with your stepsister. From your perspective, she's been exceedingly kind and sisterly. After all, your parents are the ones who sent you to live with her for a few weeks. It would have been unthinkably rude of you to accept her hospitality and then refuse to leave your room. Naturally, you two became friends, and without more information from your parents, you don't understand why they would be so aghast that their daughters have a good relationship. Most parents would be delighted for their daughters to get along so well. Wow, I agree with everything you said, thank you. Your parents don't sound trustworthy. The fact that this girl who is 3 years younger than her stepsister has no information about her, including how close in age they were, and the mom was literally in tears, seemed a little extreme. And the grandma said he's not a good father, and Asa seemed objectively great. However, it doesn't mean that the girl is not manipulative. It's just always weird when they don't give you any information and expect you to not believe what you see. I have met a few people who were so charming they could convince you of anything, including one family friend who was in prison several times for scamming everyone, including his unfortunate wife, and then the next time a girlfriend who thought he was real. He's back in jail now and he wasn't real. He always was scamming, and he cost a lot of people who knew him money when they fell for his sincere intentions to do the right thing. If you want a complete picture, you have to get 3 perspectives: Asa's, your parents, and a different relative /S. according to comments, your grandma. Keep in mind the first to tell their side is not always the truth. Listen, keep everything in mind, then once you have heard the diff perspectives but do not come to a conclusion yet until you hear the different sides. After getting all the info you can, try to analyze the situation, and decide from there whether you want to continue a relationship with your stepsis. But honestly, the details from your parents are the ones with red flags. Asa grew up with her aunt, so that already implies that your parents are not involved in her life as parental figures when they should have been. Gardening and taking care of pets and animals are very intimate activities. You don't just learn them because you heard someone talk about it, you would have been spending a lot of time with your mentor with these things, so we can assume a close relationship there. And the fact that despite Asa's age, she inherited her aunt's sizable property instead of the aunt's older relatives says something. Inheritance and money can draw out the worst in people, and it's not far-fetched to think that there might be bitterness on your parents' part if the aunt did not leave them with anything. Another red flag on what kind of people your parents are, but left everything to her niece. This would be made worse if your parents demanded a portion from your stepsister and she did not budge, maybe to respect wishes of deceased aunt if she did not want anything to go to your parents. But these are all speculation. And the only thing you got against Asa is, she's too nice. Heck, good people do exist. But if you want to do a character check, maybe ask people who may know her ABT what kind of person she is. You can ask her tenants or neighbors or even other relatives you know. You really need to sit down and ask your parents what she's done. Say you need to know so you can gradually cut off the relationship so she doesn't manipulate you, and you want to be aware of what she could try and do whilst you're slowly cutting her out. She sounds too good to be true, and I would listen to your mum and stepdad if they seem really bothered by this. I already pleaded with them to tell me. I asked them, how do you expect me to cut someone out of my life without giving me a reason? When my mum gave me back my phone, she told me I was right on this regard. And thinking back, she does look too good, but also, I can't shake off the feeling that is genuine. I'm lost here. Talking to GF about friend couple where wife is primary earner. When told, my GF replied with, well, why is she with him then? I am primary breadwinner and here a flag waving. What about y'all? Now we both work full time, but I make about 2x times what she does. I've noticed a bit of lack of ambition for career growth on her end, which wasn't hugely bothersome until she made the title comment. Now I'm kind of fixated on this, compounded by the additional contrast of our savings accounts. We do have separate finances, BTW. For further context, I am by no means a workaholic, but I do work my 40 hours. And am willing to go above and beyond that where necessary in the interest of fatter paychecks. My goal is to retire at 40 to 45, and I am of the belief that so is on board with that goal. I've essentially tripled my salary in the last 2 years by working hard at this company, and the prospects are lining up. I work hard and it shows, but I feel like I'm the only one working hard towards that goal, and concerned she may just want to be along for the ride. GF on the other hand, starts working about 10 AM. We WFH because gestures broadly, and clocks off about 3 PM. She hasn't gotten a raise in the 2 years she has worked at the company, and isn't taking steps to remediate that. She hasn't really asked for one, looked for other opportunities, nor started working on the skills and certs to improve her resume. Overall it just feels unambitious to me. I'm curious, do y'all consider this all to be a red flag from a financial compatibility perspective? Obviously there is a number of conversations to be had here, so I'd appreciate any guidance on that as well. Edit for info. We are not married, don't really have plans to, and don't want kids. Got snipped. Seen lots of mentions of prenups. See above. But also regardless of my partner's earning potential they'd be signing a prenup before we married. Non-negotiable. To all saying I don't love her, that's not true. I love her very much. However, this post is looking for objective opinions in regards to finances and professional ambition. That's all I'm looking for advice on, and don't care to justify my intimate feelings as a factor of that. For housework, we generally outsource it. This is of course a poor budgeting decision to some, but we are in agreement that the time saved is well worth the expenditure. I have gotten lots of great advice and perspectives, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off notifications for this post, though I may still reply here and there. I sincerely appreciate all the thoughts and opinions which have been expressed by you all.